So despite a few performance issues here and there, everyone, and I mean everyone, has been playing Monster Hunter Wilds. It has sold around 8 million units in just the first 3 days. That's like 2.5 million units per day. However, something drew my attention were the different kind of recipes you can create, 4 different types of buffs for hunting these monstrous monsters. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you how to make the Monster Hunter Steak and Eggs dish. The basis of a classic steak and eggs dish is, well, the steak. So first we need to get our hands on a steak. Okay, so instead of using the meat from one of these beasts, let's take the easy way out and just go with the traditional New York strip steak from the store. The next thing we need are some eggs. And since egg prices are out of control right now, if you can, go hunting for your own eggs or even buy some from your local hunter. I'd recommend doing that. You can use just one, but I used 2 large eggs this time. Then finally, we need parsley for garnishing. Personally, I don't think this adds too much in the way of taste, but it does brighten up the dish, making it look pretty. And real quick, if your cutting board is slick and sliding around your work area, a little trick you can do is to put a damp cloth or paper towel under the cutting board, and this will prevent it from sliding around the work surface. Alright, so first thing we need to do is to let our meat set out of the fridge for about 30 minutes to allow it to come to room temperature, or get close to room temperature. This is called tempering and helps with more even cooking and searing. So temper your meat. Now we're going to finely rough chop the parsley here. Nothing too fancy or crazy, just chop, chop, chop until you have little bits you can sprinkle on top after we're finished cooking. And then set that aside in a container for later use. Once it's been about 30 minutes or so and the meat's been fully tempered, pat it as dry as you can get it. You want that surface to be as dry as possible. This will help get an even sear when we cook the steak in the pan. Now we season all sides with salt and pepper, top, bottom, side to side. You want every piece of meat seasoned. Do not be afraid of that salt and pepper shaker. Now it's time to preheat your pan. I'm using a stainless steel pan, so for those of you who are not familiar with how to properly cook with one of these, watch carefully. Put your heat on about medium-high and let the pan heat up. Once you can splash water in the pan and it beads up and glides around the pan without evaporating, then and only then is it ready. Lower the heat down to about medium and add a splash of a high smoke point oil. Add the steak, fat side down first. You do this to render the fat and cook the steak in its own juices. Do this for a few minutes until it looks like this, nice, crispy, and brown. Then lay it down gently and press into it, making sure it all makes contact with the pan. Let this cook for about 4 to 5 minutes. Once you can easily pull the steak from the pan without it sticking, then you can flip it. We want a nice and even crispy sear here. Look at that, isn't she gorgeous? So now flip it over and do the same thing. Make sure it's all making contact with the pan, pressing down gently here and there if you need to, and then add a knob of butter. And once it starts to turn brown and bubbly, start spooning it on top of the steak. If your heat is too high here, you will burn your butter, so make sure your heat is on about medium or lower. Basting the steak with the butter will help add a rich and savory flavor and helps keep it nice and tender. Do this for a few minutes until you hit an internal temperature you prefer. I meant to pull this off at around 125, but I have ADHD and got distracted, so 130, 135 is fine for me. Once it gets to the temp you want, pull it off the heat and let it rest. A good steak is a rested steak. Do not cut into this too early. If you do, all the juices and flavor will just seep out onto the cutting board or your work surface. It needs time to rest to seal all the flavors and juices back inside the steak. It's time for the eggs. And I'm going to be honest, I normally do my eggs in a separate pan, so I was very skeptical on cooking them like this in a stainless steel pan with the juices of the steak. But they turned out so amazing. To help cook the white parts, spoon on the juices from the steak on top of them. And once the whites are fully cooked, you can remove the eggs and then garnish with that parsley we chopped up earlier. I forgot to show the cross section of the steak earlier, so I had to carefully remove the eggs, but look how pretty and pink that is. I'm so surprised at how well this turned out and how well it tasted, considering everything was cooked in the same pan. It even tastes better if you dip the steak in the egg yolks. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe for more video game recipes. If you want to know how to make the baguette from my most anticipated game of 2025, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, check out this video here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.